Hi, everyone. Welcome to week number 280 of the virtual Cobalt Cafe Poetry series. My name is Rick Lupert. Glad to have you here tonight. In addition to our open reading, our featured reader is Malcolm Friend. Malcolm, really glad that you're here with us today. Really looking forward to your reading. And we're going to get to that in just a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of our open reading first. If you'd like to participate in the open reading and you haven't already done so, please send me a message in the chat and I'll be happy to add you to the list. Everyone gets to read up to two poems, and our suggested time limit is less is more. So there you go, two poems, less is more. We, as is the long-standing tradition here at the Cobalt, have a one drink minimum, so please make sure that you are enjoying a beverage of some kind uh, for some reason. There you go. That's the one drink minimum. What else can I tell you? Since everyone is muted throughout the festivities, please make sure that you do have the chat room open. That is where you are able to interact with each other, send each other secret and private messages, as well as react to the what you're hearing from our readers today. I believe that is everything that I need to tell you before we get going with the open reading. And by the way, our first open reader is going to be Melody Anderson Bermides. I would like to know if anyone has any questions. Martin Parker, yes.
Good evening, Rick. I was just wondering this evening if you have ever seen a bear in the wild.
A bear in the wild.
Yes.
Yes, I have. A couple of times. Recently in Alaska, I saw a bear in the wild, and it was small. It was kind of far away. And then many years ago, when I was a Boy Scout and going to the Boy Scout camp in the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York, we drove by where the trash was, and there were bears there just waiting to eat us or the trash. I'm not sure. We got out of there pretty quick.
Probably found the
And this
trash in your
only,
feet. So,
yeah, and this may only sort of count because on our trip to Alaska, which I wrote about in my most recent book, we had a hard time. We didn't have a hard time. We had bad luck seeing wildlife. We didn't see as much as we wanted to. So a couple days before we ended our trip, we went to the Alaska Wildlife Reserve, sort of near Anchorage, and there we saw lots of bears in giant habitats, but generally contained by fences. So it only sort of counts. But at that point, we found ourselves walking along a fence with a bear who was walking along with us, and I have a whole video of me taking a walk with a bear, basically separated by a fence, and it was one of the most exciting moments of my
nice.
human existence.
I've never seen one in the wild, but I know people have, which we might find more about later.
I can't wait. Uh, Thank you, Martin. Any other questions before we get going? Christopher T. George, yes.
Have you seen Smokey the Bear?
Only in his televised appearances.
Oh, okay.
All right, thank you, Christopher. Good question. Any other questions before we get going? Is that it? Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a good couple of questions there. Bear-related questions. Perhaps that'll somehow be the theme of the reading. We're going to do 5 open readers, and then our featured reader, Malcolm Friend, on deck. Our second reader will be Michael G. Hickey. Please welcome our first reader, Melody Anderson Bermides. Hello, Melody.
Okay, there you go. Well, that's great. Those questions always invigorate me. So my poem is called Bravura. Working a puzzle this morning, I came up with a great new, to me, word, bravura. Bravura, a noun with one of the definitions being a show of daring or brilliance. Its origin, mid-18th century, from the Italian word bravo, meaning good or bold. If I had a little more bravura, no one would be able to get my goat. Speaking of dogs, I thought of my littlest of 6 chihuahuas, Little Mama. While chihuahuas are known for their incessant barking, they also tend to be fierce and afraid of nobody. I recall talking to a lady walking a pit bull down the hill in the city's Tenderloin. I asked if the dog protected her. She said no, she's a real sweetheart. But when I had my chihuahua, she duked it up with everyone. I had no troubles. Little Mama, the smallest of my pack, is full of bravura. My dogs get along for the most part, but when boredom sets in, they may start with a bit of teasing, name calling. Little Mama is often in the midst of it. When my daughter brought in Mila, a Great Dane and Pit Bull mix, Little Mama immediately attacked her. She lunged at Mila's ankles, which was at Little Mama's head. Mila could have easily won over Little Mama, but instead retreated quickly. Little Mama has enough bravura to win over everyone. Not only that, but she sees herself as the same size or larger than everyone, especially dogs she encounters. Dragging me along, she protects me by being bold. A simple attack first, talk, bark later policy. If only I had the bravura of Little Mama, no one would bother me anymore. Perceived slights would never, not ever affect me, set me back. I would be atop any debacle. Oh yes, today I walk in the world with bravura, a show of daring. Hand in hand, paw in paw with Little Mama, we walk down and up Sandhurst Hill in Vallejo. All dogs, cats, squirrels, and one tired opossum who played dead on our fence until Little Mama's incessant barking won all. Yes, everyone will part as we come through. The world is our banana. And that's it.
Bananas are good, I guess, in one sense. Melody, thank you so much for opening up our reading.
Yes.
Fun poem. Good to have you here in this space. Round of applause for Melody Anderson Bermides. All right, on deck, our third reader will be Martin Parker. Please welcome now Michael G. Hickey. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone. I forgot how much I love the word bravura. I am going to read a couple poems tonight. The first one was in the 10th anniversary of the Atlanta Review. It's very short. It was very long, and I realized that the whole thing was, the title was a punchline. So I just cut it down. So it turned out to be 6 lines. Okay, it's called Linda's Home Improvement Loan. Linda went to the bank, borrowed $2,000, and gave it all to her unemployed, uninspired boyfriend, Darnell. Here, she said, get out of my house. Thank you. And the second piece I'd like to read tonight is kind of an older poem, but I did reprint it in my new book. I put it in the chat, my new book, Orgy at the Chinchilla Ranch. This poem is called A Letter from the Pleasure Center of Maggie's Brain. Hey, Margaret, your hypothalamus called. It's up there in your brain with the dopamine playing laser tag, the stock market, backgammon, testing new theories of neuroplasticity. Margaret, all of us here in the Pleasure Center have voted unanimously and respectfully request you recall that day on the beach. Remember that day on the beach? You always get teary-eyed. The one you went to on your honeymoon with Jack or Jason or Kenneth or Pete, one of them. You wore your bikini until midnight, finally convinced there may be more in life than this life. Margaret, you don't know this yet, but your memories of that beach Fiji, Bimini, wherever it was, the name doesn't really matter. When your mind goes back there, when the camera in your brain goes back to that sandy beach, you don't need martinis or credit cards. You don't need anything except this beach. The white sand, the salty air, swirling surf. The world can have all the rest of the beaches, so you can safely call this one your own. Margaret, this beach memory happens to be located smack dab in the middle of your pleasure center. Never forget the pleasure of this beach, Margaret. Tuck it away in your cerebral cortex for safekeeping, just in case you need it someday, because you will need it someday. We all will. Thank you.
Michael, thank you so much for being here and for your work as well. Cool letter. I love the brevity of the first poem as well. Short poems excite me. Short people excite me too. I don't know. There's something about it. So thanks for being here.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks,
Round of
everybody. I love
applause.
you. Siggy, we love you.
Yeah, absolutely. A round of applause for Michael G. Hickey. On deck, Cheryl Latif. Please welcome now Martin Parker. Hello, Martin.
Hello again, Rick. Thanks as always for this space and for everyone in it. I've got a couple of poems here tonight. This first one is called Family Origins. I am my father's only son. He had two sisters, I only one. He liked to palaver, share tales of his life, of wandering the wilderness with his newlywed wife. Saw thousands of islands under the sun in upstate New York where swift currents run. Then south to mountains black with smoke, where he didn't tell mom about the bear as a joke till after he snapped a photo one morn. Some days I wonder how I was born. And that's based on an actual event where my father took a picture of my mother with a bear behind her without telling her until after he took the picture. So they were camping in the Smoky Mountains a few years before I was born. That was based on a prompt from books that were made the shortlists that year. And Tumblewords does that every year. And the book, some of the books were The Wilderness, The Sisters, Only Son, and Palaver. This second one I have is another recent one called Holiday Connection, about connecting with my partner over the holiday when she went to visit her family. My love has flown on a sea of air. My phone holds pictures of golden hair. The sound of a harp brings lights that show the outlines of sights where spirits glow. The echoes of words we've shared over time connect the pieces and keep them in line. As people move on and links fall apart, one voice carries on and heals my heart. And I'll put my usual links in the chat for in case anybody wants to check out my artwork or any of the books that are coming out from Poetry Global Network soon. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Martin. Great to have you here. As always, thanks for sharing that. I'm so glad that your parents' experience with the bear didn't prevent you from being conceived and with us tonight. So there you go. Glad. And I'm jealous because I've been pining to have experiences with bears. I'm just, casual encounters. Wait, that doesn't sound right either. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to you on how to word this, and we'll figure it out. Fan of bears. I don't know. I'm not sure that sounds right either. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on. We've got two more readers, and then our featured reader, Malcolm Friend. There's a couple people in the waiting room whose names I don't recognize. If anyone knows Victor Ramirez or Talia Abreu, please let me know. Other than that, Carrie Cox, you are on deck. Please welcome now Cheryl Latif. Hello, Cheryl.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here with you. And Rick, Seth said yes, he knows Talia. It's in the chat, so I don't know if you saw that. Okay, so here we are. Let me get where I need to be. Okay, so I'm going to read you a couple old poems. Forgive me for that. I haven't been writing a lot. I do have something new, but I believe I read that recently. So I am going to start with this piece entitled Celestial Promises. Here, where the Pacific is both siren and shrew, you wash over morning, stir my heart until a belligerent sun evaporates this waking dream. Seasons ago, we wrote a comet's tale, our hope soundless in the black of deep space. But we believed. Without reason, we believed. You held stars in your palm, scattered them across the skies as though their light could change the color of tomorrow. I held my breath and believed. Thank you. And this piece is entitled Prayer Beads. I am quiet like the sky early morning, anticipating birdsong, unsure about the sun. This stillness, my pilgrimage. At the reflecting pool of memory, I kneel, drink in your visage, mindful not to disturb the surface, alter the spell with even a ripple of need. You leave gifts at my door. I cannot decipher them without you. These bits of song, slightly faded photographs, pages torn from an unfinished manuscript, untitled maps. I have caught you like rain in my tongue, released you in beads of sweat, returned to the quiet again and again to light candles, burn sandalwood, remember what I know. In pools of light, I hold your words, a rosary. Feel your desire in the smooth roundness of each bead. Cast prayers of strength. Wait for a sign.
Cheryl, thank you so much. An old Cheryl Lateef poem is a delight to hear. No need to apologize for that. Thank you for bringing that one back, and your other piece as well. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Cheryl Lateef. All right, we have one more reader before our featured reader, Malcolm Friend. So, Malcolm, you're on deck. Please welcome now Carrie Cox. Hi, Carrie.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Happy Poetry Night. It's nice to see you. I've been away for a little bit, so it's good to be back. I have a couple of poems I'd like to share with you. The first one is called Butcher Paper. I'm not takeout ready, perfume heady, slightly unsteady when I tread these wet street full of life's saddest confetti. I'm gunning for fifth gear, getting the hell out of here. I can't be pretty, contorted in fear. Can't get warm on days frozen clear. You're a sword I keep swallowing. The hunger you can hear. In the growling inside me, the ratcheted sneer, machine like and quick, the spiral of an ear. Because sometimes skin's job is to steer. And my vesseled hollow, a lived through mirage of bone marrow and sorrow, I was able to fable each arrow you taught my trajectory to follow. Now sad as sable, tame as a table, no matters, no manners or rules on how long to allow a widow to wallow in grief fertile and fallow. Did you have a choice in who to allow to come out when the curtains closed for one final bow? If we came for the tussle, we got lost in the shuffle of one less reason to make our moans muffled, a double dueling deck of jacks kicking up a kerfuffle, a new way of finding water, crossed copper and wires in hands of your oldest daughter, ghosts in the well now, singing of slaughter. And my second one is called Sign of Life, and it's a poem, but it sounds pretty good as a sea shanty, actually. But I'm going to read it as a poem tonight. It's called Sign of Life. Rustling in the dustbin, I've been searching for the wind, for a song that has never been sung, that I don't even know how to begin. I've been rustling in the wind. I've been standing by the sea. I've been looking for a lighthouse that's been looking out for me. I'm a monster in my mind. I'm a leviathan of the depths. Someday, when you find me down there with all the secrets that I've kept, you'll know it wasn't my fault. All those siren sick sailors and their shipwrecks, all the hemispheres that got left hexed by water gods and sky gods and sun gods and whatever gods come next. Steering by the stars again as clouds part their misted dreaming. A hero's only welcome comes ages from the leaving. Currents jet stream our passages uneven where time waits for no heathen and doldrums idle hands like a demon dreaming of thieving, a mutiny not of money, a trick not of treason. The deck swabbing dangers of salt rubbed into skin, the anchor no match for the swells that sneak in. We fish for the rains, set sail, and learn to swim. I carry you around my neck, albatross soft, like ashes protecting the dead's need to fly off. I've seen the edge of the world dropped off into Bermudian triangles shrouded in hopes heavier than cloth. Remembrance, a ritual, forgiveness, the balm, torture the tempest till the teacups grow calm. Turning in the tidal total ride inside the tunneled yodel of seashell spiral, sins I go to, riptide ripe to steal what she sells by a seashore left unfathomed, kidnapped in kelp forests unransomed in a holy dervish dying sandstorm. Curb the call of the hellbet yet handsome. I'm a teeth in a mouth with no way to chant or hum the seeds of these words and hands ready to plant some. Don't pretend to build me a boat for this water. My arms are their own kind of oars. My soul too full of treasure to float. Buried down like a firstborn daughter. Buried down where the driest dust learns to drown. Bullying wind shape-shifting these oceans. I'm beaconing better now, a pulse to be found. Thank you.
Out of sight, Carrie. Really strong work. I love the rhythm in which you read it, the way you assembled all of those really clever phrases, and you've really got me wondering how soft albatrosses are on top of it as well. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Carrie Cox. On deck after our featured reader will be the collab Cathabella, Jackie, and Siggy, which leads us now to our featured reader, Malcolm Friend. Malcolm writes strongly and deeply about his own identity, as evidenced by a poem that was published by the Academy of American Poets last year, which got emailed to lots of people, including to me one morning, which is what got Malcolm on my radar and really wanting to hear more from him. So there you go, Malcolm. Is originally from Seattle. I know we've got a couple of Seattle folks here tonight, Cheryl and Michael G. Hickey. I wonder where you are right now. Malcolm, perhaps you'll tell us. Um, but has a heritage from other parts of the world. He's the author of a couple of books, a chapbook. Forgive me if I'm not saying the titles right. MXD KD Mixtape, which came out in 2017, and a full-length collection called Our Bruises Kept Singing Purple. Really fantastic title, I'd have to say, as well as an anthology that he co-edited called Ate Me Latinx Futurisms, which came out last year on Deep Vellum Press, together with J.R. Mahung. He's a member of Black Plantains, an Afro-Caribbean poetry collective. Maybe you'll tell us more about that too, if you want, Malcolm. I'm really thrilled that you're here. Thanks for being with us tonight. A round of applause for our featured reader, Malcolm Friend.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, sorry, y'all. It's a school night. I'm a high school teacher. It's almost past my bedtime, but thanks everyone for showing up, for being here, for sharing your work, and for taking some time to listen to mine. Um, I am gonna start off. This is something that I like to do when I have enough time. I haven't done this in a while because I haven't done a lot of readings lately. But I like to start off with a poem by someone who is not me. That way you are guaranteed to hear at least one good poem come out of my mouth. So I am going to start with a poem by Richard Hugo, West Marginal Way. One tug pounds to haul an afternoon of logs upriver. The shade of Pigeon Hill across the bulges in the concrete crawls on reeds in a short field. Cools appear and the violence of young men after cod. The crackpot chapel, with a sign erased by rain, returned before to calm and a mossed roof. A dim wind blows the roses growing where they please. Lawns are wild and lots are undefined, as if the payment made in cash were counted then and there. These names on boxes will return with salmon money in the fall. Come drunk down the cinder arrow of a trail, past the store on Poppage, sawdust piles and the sawmill bombing air with optimistic sparks, blinding gravel pits and the brickyard baking, to wives who taught themselves the casual thirst of many summers, wet in heat and taken by the sea. Some places are forever afternoon. Across the road and a short field, there is the river, split and yellow, and is far down, affected by the tide. All right. So I am going to start out my own work. I shared that Richard Hugo poem because I'm going to share a bunch of work that is about me in Seattle. So I'm going to start with a poem that was recently published in Poetry Northwest. It is a poem that is after the poet Nate Marshall. And it is something that was born out of just noticing land acknowledgements, the way that at a certain point they started to become a little more performative than anything else. It's about the way that we're all sort of implicated in this empire of the US. And it is about the fact that some of us were taken into this empire without our choice. Dispersion theory in the form of a land acknowledgement, after Nate Marshall. I would like to acknowledge that the South End I claim is unceded Coast Salish land. I would like to acknowledge I am not even generations deep in this land. I would like to acknowledge that my folks might appear settlers. Mom hopped in the car with Dad and drove from the old Northwest to the new one, a remixed Denny party. I would like to acknowledge Mom's folks, migrants from the South to the South and West sides of Chicago when the South became untenable land for them. I would like to acknowledge a land marked by lynchings like mile markers. I would like to acknowledge Dad's folks, migrated out the Caribbean for East Harlem when the Caribbean became America's plaything. I would like to acknowledge islands marked by naval bases and big stick diplomacy like longitudinal and latitudinal lines. I would like to acknowledge my ancestors who belonged to the land they tilled, nurtured soil all the way from Alabama to Jamaica. I would like to acknowledge the crops they grew for settlers and their kin. I would like to acknowledge the dirt caked on their calloused hands, sweat stinging cuts and wounds. I would like to acknowledge my ancestors, stolen. I would like to acknowledge I've never known what it's like to be one with the land. Closest I can manage is pre-grocery breakfast at Silver Fork. Closest I can manage is free throw practice on St. Paul's playground. Closest I can manage is peanut butter and syrup sandwiches at Pritchard Beach. Closest I can manage is pulling a King County Metro cord after Renton and Victor. Maybe the only homeland I will ever claim are memories, which one day I'll also lose. All right. So I'm going to read a couple of poems from Our Bruises Kept Singing Purple. And because I mentioned it in that last poem, I'm going to read a poem that's dedicated to Silver Fork, which was a restaurant in the South End of Seattle that I used to go to all the time with my dad. Afro-Seattleite fragment number 3, Silver Fork, an elegy. 1. It's 1995, maybe 96. Truth is, you'll be here so often before you reach 21 that Silver Fork will be associated with the beginning of time. When you're 6, you'll come here after your younger sister busts the top of your first adult tooth, an incisor. At 19, you'll bring your best friend from high school here, sink your teeth into a soul burger. But for now, you're 3, maybe 4. Diana Ross is asking where her love went, and Dad's ordered you a short stack. More food than you'll actually eat. You order the hot chocolate yourself. A Mount Rainier portion of whipped cream looms over the cup's horizon, and you'll spend more time forcing spoonful after spoonful of it into your mouth than eating what little portion of your pancakes you don't fork over to Dad. 2. It's 2010. You've just graduated from high school. 4 generations of your blood have gathered here. Marty, Mom and Dad, Marcus, Veronica, Nene with Will, and Junior. Your nephew is 2. Just a couple years younger than you were the first time you stepped in here. This time it's David Ruffin insisting he ain't too proud to beg, but the story is the same. He smiles. He laughs. He eats some, but not all, of his pancakes, and for a moment, you think this is family inheritance. In barely 3 years, Silver Fork will close, the land used instead for a Safeway gas station. Your nephew is the last of your lineage to ever be serenaded by Motown legends as he eats breakfast. And you wonder, if he knew, would he commit the moment to memory? Or would he sit there, smile sitting on top of his face, just like you did years ago when they brought that hot chocolate, whipped cream bursting over the edge of the cup? Okay. I'm gonna hope that this poem doesn't become a jinx. But the Seattle Seahawks are the #1 seed in the NFC this year. The last time they were this good, a man named Russell Wilson was their quarterback. So I'm going to read a poem I wrote about him and about Colin Kaepernick's kneeling during the national anthem back in the day. It starts with 2 epigraphs because I like to do too much sometimes. The first is from Wilson himself. I understand and respect the cause because there's so much going on in America right now. For me, I love the flag. I love the national anthem. And the second comes from Cornelius Eady, his poem Alabama, circa 1963, a ballad by John Coltrane. Shouldn't this state have a song? And shall we call it My Face Will Murder Me? Afro-Seattleite fragment number 20. Ode to Russell Wilson. Or because these respectability politics ain't never saved us. Russell, I know what it's like. I too once savored the taste of my tongue. Mom made sure I spoke nice and proper. Taught me to sandpaper anything pushing out these lips so my teeth wouldn't get chipped on the way out. In high school, I got good grades, studied hard for every test, took Shakespeare, wrote bad poems. Didn't stop the priest from telling me to pull my pants above the slivered waistband of my boxers while Ryan's hung below his ass. Didn't stop Smitty from rubbing his hands all over my hair or calling blackout whenever he wanted me to post up during pickup basketball games. Russell, what if I told you that freshman year of college I chopped all of my hair off so no one could ever touch it again? That as I sat in the barbershop chair and my curls flattened on the floor like a deflated basketball, I remembered sitting still at home in the basement. Dad trying to dissuade me from going to that high school. That a part of me wished I had listened, even as Auntie Bug bragged about the top 20 university that high school sent me to, just like Mom does. Would you take it all to mean that I don't blame you? Don't expect you to prioritize the cloth covering a dirt cake casket, the cloth of the flag? We swallow our tongues because no one else is putting food on our tables. How else we supposed to eat? We all just trying to stay fed. Okay. All right. I am going to read a couple more poems. I'm going to try to end on a bit of a brighter note. Yes. Oh, well, this one's not as bright though. But don't worry, it's short, so you won't have to stick with it for too long. It's also a little bit newer, so if it's not that good, hey, it's still a work in progress. But it was written after a recent visit back to Seattle to see family. Gentrification poem. The eavesdropping cashier at Uncle Ike's asked my older sister if he's heard us correctly. That me and my younger sister have never tried Hennessy. We laugh at this white man as we exit the shop, paper-bagged bottles in hand. Did our black asses just get asked if we've had Hennessy in the Central District? We laugh at how white people never seem to be able to mind their own business. A liquor store with a rewards program and suggested tips for nosy cashiers on a corner where niggas used to sit and sip on whatever was cheap and brown and would get them by. Liquid sliding down their throats, mist on their coats. Now there are shiny new bottle shops and pastry shops and pet shops on every corner. Brunch spots that charge for grits so loose, you have to drink them out the bowl. All right, now we're gonna get happier. Now we're gonna end happy, I promise. Next poem is an ode to the King County Metro buses that raised me. It starts with an epigraph from the official King County Metro website under their "When Using Cash" section on of their How to Pay page. If you are transferring, ask the driver for a paper transfer at the time you pay. Metro paper transfers are valid on only Metro buses. If you are paying cash and use more than one transit system, you must pay a fare each time you board a different bus. Ode to paper transfers. Praise all the ways we found to game the system. How if we stayed out too long and were short on change, we'd hold expired transfers by the bottom. Rush past the driver, in or out the door. How in high school, one of the South End homies kept a rainbow of old transfers in his pockets. His hands the Seattle sky after a summer shower as he picked through paper selecting the correct color for the day before boarding. Held his transfer from the top to keep from getting caught. We didn't know the term fare evasion. Wouldn't see a fare enforcement officer until the light rail got built. I resisted getting an Orca card well into college. Then the 106 started stopping in the International District. Cut services further into downtown. Now I tap my card on boarding, get it scanned by fare officers on the light rail, and I admit, I miss the days I prayed a driver wouldn't ask me to show my transfer again. Sometimes, I still hope that as a bus rolls up, I'll turn to see someone digging in their pocket, only for their hand to come out a kaleidoscope. Right. Right. Thank you.
Malcolm, thank you so much. That was really sweet, really great last image to end on as well. I may just start carrying kaleidoscopes around in my pockets in the event that I run into you to help that come true. I suggest everyone do that everywhere. So much good work, all of it really. I love that there's amidst the strength of your work, there's a certain humility in which you present yourself. The line, so you'll hear at least one good poem before you read any of your own work, after or before reading the Richard Hugo poem, all the way to two epigraphs, because sometimes I like to do too much. Was cool and appreciated. I love the repetition in the poem and the way it was delivered in the "I would like to acknowledge" poem, and that just added to I think, to the power of what you were saying and created a really nice rhythm. I love the way you sort of like told us what time it was, or what era it was in the poem where Diana Ross was on and your father was getting you pancakes. I thought that was a really cool thing to do. Yeah, really loved it. Thank you so much. I'm pasting some stuff in the chat, and I'm going to share the screen to show the broadside I made for the poem that you sent me for that. So there that is. People can download this now at the link in the chat, at poetrysuperhighway.com/cobalt. Click on broadsides. It's an 11 by 17 print, which you can print out, look at on your screen, whatever you would like to do with it. Please do so with it. And this is how we compensate our featured poets. We ask that you get one of these and consider tipping Malcolm for his reading. There's a couple ways to do that. I put Malcolm's Venmo in the chat, so please, if you're the kind of person who'd put money in a hat that got passed around at an in-person reading, Venmo is the hat for Malcolm tonight, so please consider doing that. And then there's a couple links to the book that he edited, Ate Me Latinx Futurisms, as well as his most recent book, Our Bruises Kept Singing Purple. Both of those in the chat. There's a link at Amazon and a link at bookshop.org. and I'm sure you can get them other places as well. So please support our featured reader to thank him for his reading. There's also a link to Malcolm's website there as well, so you can casually spy on him into the future. Malcolm, I really appreciate you stayed up late for us as a high school teacher. I'm not a high school teacher, but I understand what it means to have to wake up and not go to sleep when you wanted to. So that's really cool. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, round of applause for Malcolm Friend. Great job, Malcolm. Really dug it. I will mention next week our featured reader will be the poet Matthew Feinstein, who is another poet whose work got on my radar thanks to one of the email lists that I subscribed to. I don't remember if it was Poem a Day or Rattle, but it was definitely one of those. So he'll be with us next week, in addition to our open reading, which leads us now to the rest of tonight's open reading. Don't have that many people on the list. If anyone else is here who would like to be added, feel free to send me a message in the chat. Just a friendly reminder, when you are on the list, 2 poems maximum. One or less is more is the suggested time limit. Here's who we have at this point. The collab, then Christopher T. George, Salvatore Rosseo, Bill Gaines, Heidi Casa, and me. So, having said all that, we will say that Christopher T. George, you are on deck, and please welcome the collab Cathabella Wilson, Jackie Chow, and Siggy. Siggy looks like she's disappeared. Okay. Well, looks like it's just.
Thank you, Rick. Malcolm, I wanted to tell you that oh, why isn't it just showing like that? Wait a minute. I loved your kaleidoscope. And it reminds me the way it's so nonchalant, you pull it out, somebody pulling it out of their pocket, and especially in transit. And I had a dream that just really stuck, that where I just walked onto the bus and nonchalantly dropped a radish into the, what do you call it? Not turnstile, but the ticket taker kind of thing. I just dropped a radish in there. So it reminded me of that, but I loved kaleidoscopes. And I just need to find how to share this. I don't know why. I really got this ready too. Where's the share screen? Let's try again. Okay, here's share screen. It should just come up. Here it goes. Okay. This is called New Life. It's about rejuvenation and renewal. And we write these together. Jackie, where's your flowery hat?
Oh, I had to put my headphones on.
Oh, because Rick got out his.
Okay.
Melina.
Can they see me?
Yeah, they can see you. There you are.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. So Kazuaki, who some of you know, he's a proud member of the Flower Hat Club in Japan. I am being revenged by myself. 20 years younger. You can take that as you wish. Jackie.
Renewing the lost colors of childhood. I apply eyeshadow to a faded doll.
I just love that. And this one is Peter. He can never be here at this time. He takes care of his wife. But he wrote Tonka Therapy. I always use one of his. Tonka Therapy, flipping through, fading phantom diaries, impaling the past with long, sharp needles.
He's my favorite, definitely.
Yeah, muse time, magic, murmuration. Words fly into all the unseen nests I know are there.
Beautiful.
You can read Siggy, Jackie.
Cobalt hourglass, no longer about our figure. Renewing mindfulness. Time is of the essence. Can flow quickly.
Jackie.
Hearing the rushed tick-tock of the clock, I redeem the blank page with regurgitated words.
Now, this one is a masterpiece of Siggy's. She keeps refining it. I wish she could have stayed longer. She has a companion that's helping her. She had a major gallbladder attack, so she needs help and she can't stay up too late. But she wrote these yesterday. So Rocky the cat renews our faith in learning. Old cat climbs the cat tower for the first time. At 12, makes new friends. The kind of cat, yeah, it's a kind of cat that just keeps to itself, and all of a sudden at this point, it climbs to the very top of the cat tower, and it starts to make friends. It's a very nice story, Rocky the cat. So, Kazuaki. Jackie, you can read Kazuaki.
The serpent gave the fruit to those who had lived like a pair of pigs. Then human history began.
It's Kazuaki to say that. And I say it all began with a nursery rhyme. My father sang, counting my toes. They were little piggies. And Jackie.
Unable to retrieve the 80s, I'd rather rule than wear neon-colored lace gloves.
And Siggy says, unlike driver's license, library card by computer, life needs action, renewal of my age. Jackie.
No renewal of classmates.com. My passion for past glories has faded for good.
I like that for good at the end. 2 children cross country in a tiny bus. First tangerines. Welcome to California. We squeeze out another life. And here's Rick with his flute. You can tell them about it.
Well, it's the same old shakuhachi I've played 100 times. Do you recognize it? It was made in Kyushu, and we found it in South Pasadena in the vintage
That's right.
shop.
Can you imagine? Kyushu is an island in Japan.
Well, it's one side anyway.
And we found it in South Pasadena.
I mean, we're at the point where the flute's going to need to sign up for its own set, I think, if it's going to keep coming back consistently.
What did you say?
Sign up
What
for
did
what?
you say?
It's going to have to sign up on its own. You know what I'm saying?
It'd have its own window.
If
Yeah,
it's right, if it's going to be a regular, it's such a regular.
I may abandon it in a day. You never know.
I guess we'll find out. Well, thank you all. Thank you, Colab. Thank you, Cathabella and
Thank
Jackie,
you,
for
everybody.
delivering
Thank
your
you,
own work
Rick.
as well as the work of Peter and Sakuachi and
Yeah.
And
Siggy.
Kazuaki and Sakuhachi.
Sakuachi, sorry. Kazuaki, that's right.
Yeah.
Confusing
we
the
have
name
a
of the
lot of
flute
fun
with
together.
Kazuaki.
Yeah,
But
he
great to
comes
have
to
you
our
all
meetings several
here.
times a week.
And we are always appreciative of your work and all that you bring. And we hope that Siggy comes back soon and is able to get completely and speedily healthy. A round of applause for the collab on deck. Salvatore Roseo, please welcome Christopher T. George. Hello, Christopher.
Hello. Can I do the share screen? All right, here we go. After the shooting, in memory of Renee Nicole Good, 1987 to 2026. After he shot her, he calmly sauntered over to her wrecked car to survey the damage, then sauntered back, pronouncing the dead mother of three a fucking bitch. He shot her in the head. His bullets made a scarlet Jackson Pollock splurge of her blood on the inflated balloon meant to preserve her life, the life that he had so callously ended. After she called to him, "I'm not mad at you." Another tragedy. The Shema Ozcan, this is a young girl who was killed, teenager, in Istanbul a few years ago. The Shema Ozcan. At the explosion, she rushed to survey the havoc, craned from the balcony despite her father's warning. The next blast shot shrapnel through her heart. A balcony should be for dreaming of sunsets, fountains, and gardens, and a young man who brings a gift of fragrant fruit in the morning sun. Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful work tonight, Christopher. That's probably of all of the Nicole Good poems I've seen, my favorite. So well done. Really appreciated that, and thank you so much for being here.
Thanks,
round of
Rick.
applause for Christopher T. George. On deck, Bill Gaines. Please welcome Salvatore Roseo. Hi, Sal.
Hey, Rick. Hey, Cobalt fam. How is everyone? Rick, you can hear me okay? All right, awesome. So I'm going to do, it's been a while since I've been here. I'm going to do one poem of mine, short poem, and then I'm going to do another poem of someone else. Here we go. Salvage a hummingbird from a wreck of nectar, from a wound unraveled. Nurse its wing beat back to where it's traveled, back to 90 beats per second. But first, feed it from your mouth the words to a song, to a strong feet of thirst. Each long bleat of hurt, a danger skirted. Bathe it in a cage of sun, each ray of light, the age of the next one. Each eye blink, the wage of sight. Every breath, a wink at death, the plight of another gallop of scalloped heartbeat pulled from the brink. Thank you. So this poem, and thanks, Christopher, for reading that poem dedicated to Renee. So obviously we all heard, that news last week, and the fascists are killing poets now, right? So this poem is for Renee, and also by Renee Nicole Macklin Good, and it's a poem she won an award for in 2020, and it's on the Academy of I believe it's on the Academy of American Poets site. It might even be on some other sites. It's called, again, by Renee, at the time, Renee Nicole Macklin, Renee Nicole Good. It's called On Learning to Dissect Fetal Pigs. I want back my rocking chairs, solipsist sunsets, and coastal jungle sounds that are tercets from cicadas and pentameter from the hairy legs of cockroaches. I've donated Bibles to thrift stores, mashed them in plastic trash bags with an acidic Himalayan salt lamp, the post-baptism Bibles, the ones plucked from street corners, from the meaty hands of zealots, the dumbed-down, easy-to-read, parasitic kind. Remember more the slick rubber smell of high-gloss biology textbook pictures. They burn the hairs inside my nostrils, and salt and ink that rubbed off on my palms. Under clippings of the moon at 2:45 a.m., I study and repeat ribosome, endoplasmic, lactic acid, stamen. At the IHOP on the corner of Powers and Stetson Hills. I repeated and scribbled until it picked its way and stagnated somewhere I can't point to anymore, maybe my gut. Maybe there in between my pancreas and large intestine is the piddly brook of my soul. It's the ruler by which I reduce all things now, hard-edged and splintering from knowledge that used to sit, a cloth against fevered forehead. Can I let them both be, this fickle faith and this college science that heckles from the back of the classroom? Now I can't believe that the Bible and the Quran and Bhagavad Gita are sliding long hairs behind my ear like mom used to and exhaling from their mouths. Make room for wonder. All my understanding dribbles down the chin onto the chest and is summarized as life is merely to ovum and sperm and where those two meet and how often and how well and what dies there. Renee Nicole Good.
Sal, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that piece. It's really nice to see you again. It's been a long time. You did such a great job as one of the judges of last year's Poetry Superhighway Poetry Contest. I know that was a tremendous amount of work. I'm imagine that you're only here now after such a long time because you've just woken up after having completed that task.
Long rest, long hibernation.
It's good to have you back. It's good to see that in your house it's always Christmas. That's wonderful. And
Christmas or laziness, yeah.
Sure. um, thanks for being here. Nice to see you. A round of applause for Salvatore Rosseo.
Thanks, everyone.
On deck, Heidi Casa. Please welcome now Bill Gaines. Hello, Bill.
Hello. Hi, everybody. There's been some good stuff going on tonight, and I have detected a hint of an animal theme, and that's what I'm bringing tonight. First one is called American Goldfinch. It's a bird poem. Jewel of a bird, plucking seeds from native weeds, harmonious action, accentual hue, the saturation, the vibrance, the unexpected reward of some dread untended garden. End of piece. And the next one is called Silhouette. Stray coyote, roam those streets, drink that city in. Listen to the sounds of heavy summer heat. Howl for the sirens. The alley is your nest. The shadows are your coat. Those lights were not designed for you. You're free. And that's it for me tonight.
Bill, I'm always appreciative of animal poems. And in my mind, it's the animals is always the theme. Last week, my son came home and saw a mountain lion walking in front of our house, and it entered to the left of the house and went off into the hill behind the house. And so my immediate thought is, okay, well, we're going to have to buy some mountain lion food and make sure that we do whatever we can so that way it knows we're on its side. So
Yeah, absolutely. If you can't beat them, join them.
right, or encourage them to join us or something that nature. So thanks for those. We got coyotes who live back there too. I don't know if they know the mountain lion, if they have, are at the same gatherings, but they're all there. And raccoons
It's
that
a big
poop in
old
the
party.
backyard. Anyway, listen, Bill, thank you so much for being here. As always, round of applause for Bill Gaines. On deck, Julian Matthews. Please welcome Heidi Casa. Hello, Heidi.
Hello, Happy New Year, everybody. Um, what he asks of us. The spotlight on the singer's outstretched arm proves himself distilled. The sweat on his skin, fierce evidence of each mile his body carried his soul, laid out. Lifting each time he brings it to us, our elevation in return, with shouts and cheers, grins outlasting the performance that isn't a performance, the true clothing transparent, the sheen outlandish through gloom. And this one is called Before the Light Gathers. It's dark in the club, and the crowd waits restless, nervous talking and gestures, ignoring movements around of setup, lights, sound, DJ booth, blanking their faces toward what happens before the magic uncurtains itself and requires surrender. How much of our lives consist of turning our backs on how scenes are made to accept ethereal delight. Thank you.
Good poems. Your first one reminded me sort of one I'd written a long time ago called The Lone Mosher. Actually, at the Cobalt Cafe when I was there one night, not on poetry night, and a band was playing, and there was just sort of one guy moshing by himself in the front. I don't even know if you can mosh by himself, but by God, he was trying. This is in the 90s, and just the sort of the rhythm of your piece reminded me a little bit of that. So you brought me back.
Where is that one? Is it published online, or which book of yours is it in? No?
Um,
You remember?
it it might be in the book I Am My Own Orange County or Making Love to the 50-Foot Woman. I'm not sure, but can I get back to you on that? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
sure. Yeah, I'd like to read
Okay.
it.
Okay. I could just send it to you too at no charge.
All right, sure. Yeah, whatever's free.
I hope no one else heard that because I'm hoping immediately everyone else went to be safe buy numerous books just to find that one piece. Always
Thanks.
great to hear your work. Glad you were here. Happy New Year. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Heidi Casa. On deck is me to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Julian Matthews. Hello, Julian.
Hi, share screen. If you can do it. Yeah, okay, did it. Should be appearing on your screen about now. The gambler. You throw in your depression and I up the ante, raise you my trauma. I bet my trauma can beat your trauma any day. You see me, but hold your cards close to your chest, regretting perhaps that now you have to reveal more than you had planned, just to win this hand. The night is still naive, ungroomed, but the pot is bellied, ready to boil over. We thread on devil coals, hoping to come out on the other side with unbaked feet, unblemished, blameless, stainless. steely-eyed poker faces, never knowing when to fold, hold back, break even, or walk away. We rather play with fire than slow dance on eggshells. Rather burn at the stake than endure this living hell. You lay down your hand, and I do too. You have three of a kind, nines, the emergency number never dialed. I have a flush, all spades, heaps of the same unwanted attention, hoard, hate, piles of regret. A pyrrhic wind, sort of, 'cause I dug deeper, where unburied bones, tempered flesh still have reasons to weep and no reason to sleep. Thank you.
Julian, so glad you came and slipped into the open reading. Good to hear your work. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Julian Matthews. I'm going to close out the open reading with a couple of poems. This first piece is from my book, High Moose Alert, poems that I wrote in Alaska, Canada. Well, Alaska and Canada. There you go. That's the correct way to say that. Good morning, Whitehorse. 6 hours have passed since the calendar read yesterday. The sun has been with us all night. Tim Horton sits on the counter waiting for our mouths. We may not have coffee until an airplane flies us to where the gold is. I've beaten my alarm by 6 lines of poetry. I have so much water to put on my body before this celebration of 20 years gets off the ground. On the bus, Tyrell has donuts for everyone. We, being the seers of our time, have already eaten donuts. We drive by Mr. Barbershop. His wife is a Caribbean restaurant that was closed last night. It's a quick 40-minute flight to Dawson. Another group's bodies will join us on the plane. I don't know what they are the Mr. and Mrs. of. I just know the sun has never left our presence. On the airplane, they tell us about Dawson's Sour Toe Club, where you take a shot of whiskey with the mummified human toe in the glass. I love whiskey, but not so much toes. If you swallow the toe, it costs thousands of dollars. There's a book which tells the history of each toe. Who wouldn't want a whiskey with a human toe in it? Tyrell asks. Addie raises her hand. Tyrell tells us the story of how a flight attendant rescued his clipboard from international customs. He said his entire job is his clipboard. Anyone could do his job if they had a clipboard. That is from High Moose Alert. You can get that if you want. It doesn't have the lone mosher in it though. This poem is brand new. It was written for this week's Torah portion. This week's Torah portion begins the story of the 10 plagues. If you've seen the 10 Commandments or know this story, 10 plagues happened in Egypt when Moses was trying to convince Pharaoh to let the people go. And in this week's Torah portion, the first 7 of those happens. The poem and the name of the text in Hebrew is called Va'era, which means in English, and I appeared. The poem is called Showing Up in All Sorts of Ways. And I appeared like blood in the river, the kind of thing you'd want to call a plumber about, or maybe the Army Corps of Engineers. No one liked my party trick. And I appeared like frogs who seem magical enough when you see them, but unexpected, and in such large numbers the population hid their flies from me. And I appeared like lice, which almost prevented my kid from being admitted to summer camp, but they had a system and it just took a credit card and I was on my way. And I appeared like wild beasts, and I don't really know what the problem was, as from all the videos I've seen, wild beasts just want to be our friends. I just want to be your friend. and I appeared like pestilence. I didn't want to, but I wanted to be convincing. I had all the cards, so I knew it would work. And I appeared like boils on everyone. The wait times at Kaiser were out of control. Skin cream prices shot up like rockets. The entire homeopathic movement was invented. I didn't do it for the money. I did it because it needed doing. And I appeared like hail, coming soon to an atmosphere near you. Things falling out of the sky. It's impressive. I just want to gather you close and be impressive. I want you to tell me you're impressed. Is this not working? Wait till you see what I've got planned next week. Alrighty, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening. Huge round of applause to our featured reader, Malcolm Friend. Really dug your work. Thanks for staying up late for us and being here. Your kids at the school that you teach at are lucky to have you. There's the stuff I pasted earlier. You can tip Malcolm for his reading via Venmo. You can download the broadside for his poem at the Cobalt Poets website link right there. When you're on that website, if you're new and you want to be kept up to date with what we do here, feel free to click on email list and add your email to it, and you'll get weekly emails with the flyer of that week's reading, as well as a convenient Zoom link. Also on that website is the calendar of who's coming up in coming weeks. As I mentioned earlier, next week, the poet Matthew Feinstein will be here. Continuing on into the chat, you can visit Malcolm on the web at malcolmfriend.com. And then there's a couple links to his books. His most recent book, Our Bruises Kept Singing Purple, as well as the book that he edited, Ate Me Latinx Futurisms, with all kinds of choices of places to where you could get those things. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here. Great open reading. Great to be here with all of you. I'm going to click on Ask All to unmute. Feel free to commingle.
Great evening, Rick. Really beautiful, beautiful stuff. Thank you.